So late last year, I posted my review of the OnePlus 8T, and in that video, I said that it had taken over from the Pixel 4 XL as my main device. Now since then, I have gone on to use and review quite a number of other phones, but even still, in between reviews, I've often found myself switching my SIM back to the OnePlus 8T. And so whilst I wait for my OnePlus 9 review units to be shipped, I thought it'd be fun to take a look at the 8T 6 months after its initial launch day. And there are two main questions I want to try and answer in this video. Firstly, how does this phone hold up 6 months down the line? And secondly, do I still stand by my original call of this being a phone that was almost perfect? Well, let's dive in. So let's start with the design. Now, in my first review, I said that it was just about my favorite looking and feeling phone of 2020. And to be honest, that still holds true. You just can't go past that matte glass finish on the back of the Lunar Silver version in particular. And for some reason, I just find myself being such a fan of this contrasty camera unit design. The flat display is also really nice, although I will say, after using the Galaxy S21 for a little while, which has possibly the thinnest bezels of any phone on the market that has a flat display, I did notice the slightly thicker bezels when coming back to the 8T. Aside from that though, whilst it certainly isn't the most groundbreaking or eye-catching phone in terms of design, it's still pretty close to top tier and definitely holds up. Now speaking of that display, the one on the 8T is still one of the best on the market, and it's mainly thanks to that 120Hz panel. Not only does it make using the phone feel like a silky smooth experience, but I'd say that it still trades bars and in some cases exceeds my experiences with the 120Hz panels we've seen on the newer phones from Samsung. Part of that comes down to the fact that this is an always active 120Hz panel, which, save for a little bloated battery life, is honestly my preference when it comes to displays. But I think the main reason that this 120Hz panel feels as good as it does is because of the software experience. Every OnePlus phone I've ever used, including their budget phones like the OnePlus Nord, they really nail the software experience and optimization. And what that results in is a buttery smooth performance. 6 months later, I haven't experienced really any hiccups whatsoever, but it's also the way that they've designed their transitions and animations, particularly when using full screen gestures, that makes the overall experience so nice. Now, I used to say that the reason I kept going back to Pixel devices all the time was because of the software experience. But the issue was that was true for every aspect of the Pixel software experience, except for perhaps the biggest part, the home screen launcher. The Pixel launcher is perhaps the worst stock launcher on any Android phone for those who like to tweak the layout of their home screen setup, which you all know is something I love to do. Now I got around that by using some root-only methods and widget packs and things of that nature, but the issue is with rooted phones, some features like Google Pay stop working. And I think that's been one of the best parts about switching to OnePlus because of how customizable their home screen launcher is with custom icon packs and the ability to hide apps from the app drawer. I've really found no real reason to root this phone. And using the stock launcher is definitely one of the biggest contributors to making a phone feel as buttery smooth as possible. And it's why I will always now do my best to use a phone's stock launcher, even if I have to jump through a few hoops to set it up in the way that I want. Now, in terms of battery, in my initial review, I said that there was one factor that brought this phone down one peg from being pretty much the perfect phone for me, and that was the lack of wireless charging. But to be completely honest, I haven't noticed it as much as I thought I would. Funnily enough, I actually did say in that review that I wished they included just slow wireless charging in the 8T and saved the super fast wireless charging for their Pro lineup. And that's actually what they've gone ahead and done with the OnePlus 9. Do I think that alone is a reason to get the regular OnePlus 9 over the 8T? No, I don't think so. But with that said, do I still wish they included slow wireless charging with the 8T? Of course. So the last area worth looking into again are the cameras. Now back in my initial review, I said that I've been using the Gcam port and that I found it to be a great way to vastly improve how the cameras perform on the OnePlus 8T, particularly when taking images of people. And that has remained true. So whenever I'm snapping a shot of my kids or of just people in general, I'll always open up the Gcam port instead of the stock camera, and then I'll be really pleased with the results. For other scenarios in good lighting conditions, that's when I'll probably revert back to using the stock camera. Also, when I'm recording videos as well, although sometimes I'll just use the Gcam port for everything. The only slight downside to this is that you can't map it to be the default camera that launches when you double press the power button, which is a shortcut I use all the time. But aside from that, I have continued to be satisfied with the images and videos I've captured on this phone, pretty much exclusively thanks to the Gcam port. And so there it is. That's my experience of using the OnePlus 8T 6 months later. We'll see how it compares when I soon switch to the OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro, but for my money, the OnePlus 8T is still excellent value for money, even more so given that it's now come down in price a little. And so if you're wondering whether to pick this phone up in 2021, well, I say go for it.